right, everybody, welcome to the close. Welcome to the last half an hour until we get into, of course, what will be a very interesting session because it's all about, I guess you would say, the FANG, but not the Netflix FANG, the new NVIDIA FANG that we just made today. The N needs to be replaced. What do you guys think? Does the N need to be replaced? Market obviously did not mind the guidance from NVIDIA, and we can see that that stock has continued to be one of the strongest in the market over the last pretty much 2 months. Now, another one that we've been talking about a lot, old Amazon coming through with the goods today, 3.79%. Now, we may not have talked so much about NVIDIA's strength, but we certainly did talk about Amazon's strength coming up. And we've talked about this idea of breaching through our resistance highs, breaching to a new point. And of course, now we've just gotten through that 3,600 and smashed it. 3,682. It's unlikely this thing will obviously sell off that much in the next hour. Big closure here for it. Opens up that idea of 4,000 strong. Good time for it to go. Seasonal, all these types of things. So very, very, very good. Very good. Joseph Dishouse says $4.99. Bought an option on Amazon after earnings. One of the best decisions of my life. Oh, well, that's good. Very, very good there, Joseph. $4.99. Obviously, it must have been short dated for you to have done so well on it. I think that is very cool, though. Hopefully, gave it a little bit of time. Oh, dear. Just saw Barber. Let's have a look. Oh, I hadn't seen Barber yet. Wow. Wow. JD up 5.4%. The old Barber's down 143. Holy moly. Paul Scaglia says, been scaling into Amazon. Thanks, Tom. You mean thanks, Paul, because you obviously have followed your own technical analysis and you've figured out the quality levels. You got the big brain there, Paul. Well done. Very, very good. Crash incoming, says AB. We'll find out about that soon. Good afternoon. I believe someone told me I was wrong when I said NVIDIA would rocket. Yes, that was me, Shane. Yes, I said that it shouldn't rocket based on the big bull that moves. And you know what? I'm going to stick to it. I'll stick to what I say. And what I said there was that it had a 50% run and there was more chance of down action than up action. I'll stick to the downscale at that point. I love NVIDIA. It's all good. And I understand it's up quite a lot today, but that doesn't really change my opinion on how the market moves and the tendencies that usually happen. You have to stick to it. You know, the one thing that a lot of people sometimes do is they lose faith in their system. They lose faith in their concept when they see one or two outliers to that. So let's think about the outliers that we've seen so far. Another company I actually love a lot, Net, came up here, grown basically 100% into earnings. Earnings came out, mediocrity, and then it came through. Now, in all these scenarios, what you'll notice is it actually dropped into the earnings. So this one dropped into the earnings. You have the chance to read the report when it's this high, then decide whether you want to get back in. Tesla was very similar. Tesla, if we remember rightly, reported, went down a little bit, a few days down into it, then you could have got back in if you wanted to. And even in some ways, NVIDIA was similar. I mean, it was down 3% yesterday, and now let's have a quick look at it together. You know, everyone's making a big deal about it. Oh, it's up 9%. It's up 9%. Yeah, it was here the other day, you know. So if you had descaled into earnings, possibly got 310, it's at the same price. So, you know, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not going to change my mind on the way that I approach the markets. If I think the stock's gone up 50% coming into an earnings result, am I going to descale it? Yeah, I'm going to descale it. Why? Because I've seen some horrors over the time where the stocks have run so hard and it has been a buy the rumor, sell the fact. Is this really a buy the rumor? Oh, the fact's so great. I'd argue no. Is the fact that great? It was here the other day. Hopefully that makes sense. Strong day for Apple on car rumors. Yes, the old Apple coming back through with some goods as well. We talked about the breakout there. We saw that little breakout. Some people got into that one from a day trade perspective yesterday, and we've got another day of 158. Now, is this an all-time high? I think it's an all-time high, isn't it? All-time high for Apple, so another strong one. And what this is leading into, which we'll talk about in a second, is a very big discrepancy of the stock market right now. Notice what we have on the right-hand side here. By the way, Bitcoin got flogged. Our suspicions were correct. US 500, US 100. What the hell is going on here? 0.32% up, US 500. 0.97% up, Nasdaq. Dow, down. IWM, down. So it's more of a couple of stocks that are really pushing it up. And I think this is, obviously, we have the new FANG, but let's just look at the FANG in general. You'll notice the FANG is where the strength is. New breakout high for the FANG. Apple is really pushing this one through, and Amazon and Google. And it helps that Tesla's trading around 1100 still. So all of these type of big stocks are really getting this NASDAQ up. So there's the new breakout high here. And it kind of reminds me of what we saw previously in multiple times since this rally's begun. I mean, the rally happened. We had it all being, these few stocks. Then suddenly these few stocks underperformed. And then, of course, they continue to perform very, very well, but they did underperform. So we've got like what I would guess you would say is a lowering breadth. So it's not the whole market going up anymore. And that is going to be the big thing. The lowering breadth is a big deal. Let's bring up the sentiment indicator here. Thank you again, Joseph, for the donation. Appreciate that very much. I'm glad you're doing well. So here's the current reading. So we're at extreme greed still, but it's down a little bit from where it was. You've got all these indicators. Let me just bring these up. So you've got like market momentum. You've got junk bond demand. Okay, whatever. We don't care about that anymore. Put call options. We do pay attention to that to a degree. Safe haven demand. You'll notice that actually is up. So it's not as low as it was. Stock price breadth. So that's something that we often like to look at here as well in terms of what's going on with the overall breadth and strength overall. So I like to see a market that's going up with every one of the stocks, that every one of the stocks is doing well. Everything's going very good. And maybe we're not seeing that right now. The FANG is obviously where it's at again, or at least the new FANG with the NVIDIA being put in there. And Amazon's probably one of my favorites still, in terms of just the runway that it has coming into this November, December period. Now, I think if Amazon hits the 4,000 or hits the 3,900, you've got to pay attention to those levels for sure. But this is kind of the thought process. Let's look at the US 500 here. Where are we? It's sitting right around the high still. Nothing much has happened just yet. We're basically at that resistance, and we've seen basically a week of lackluster results. Now, a lot of people expecting Thanksgiving to be green. It usually is, actually. It's one of the better ones. But you know what happens the first 2 days of Thanksgiving week? The first 2 days can actually be wild. So they can be, down. Then usually we see that recovery that Wednesday, obviously Thursday, Thanksgiving, and then Friday. So we do tend to see this being a stronger week than usual. But this year it might be different. Everyone's expecting it to be great. If I remember rightly, Bitcoin was weak into Thanksgiving a few times, actually. And it's doing it again. We'll look at the crypto market after we've closed this. So we're right at the peak. We haven't broken out. 4,720 is the top that we need to close. And if we do close above there, you've got to expect the next day to also be bullish. It's very likely. When you break a new high, what's the traditional movement of the market so far? Let's have a look. So here we have, okay, so we haven't broken new high. We break the new high. We go up a little bit for that rally, and then we come back down. All right, fantastic. Break a new high. Next day is green, then red. Okay, break a new high, green next day. Break a new high, green next day. Break a new high, green next day. So if you go through and you think about breaking these new highs and you're always getting green, then you can sometimes trade off that. You can sometimes say, okay, well, I'm not sure about what's going to happen the second day, but the first day, there's a higher chance than not that it's going to go bullish and green, and that can help you out when you're looking for these trades. US 100, obviously new all-time peaks here. So this is completely smashed through the other peak, thanks to the FANG. thanks to Apple, Amazon, etc. We're through the high here. We're through the trend line to a degree. Let's have a look at this on the QQQ just to make sure it's actually smashing it. There's our QQQ. Oh, it's so close. I mean, if it's going to turn, kind of has to do it here. I know it's a little bit out. Trend lines aren't an exact science, but this is a bit sad. It's a bit sad if we get another green day because it's over. Our beautiful ascending channel that we've used now since, well, pretty much around here. So March 21. It's done. We can't use it anymore. That's a sad day, guys. Yeah, I know it's closed on Thanksgiving. All good. It's a sad day when we look at this and we see the breakout here because it makes it less predictable for us, and that's kind of sucky. Thomas Vesta, DKK $50. Hey T, good new nickname. Regarding ACB, as we are seeing a stop hunt on today's candle, looking so clean up until today. What about BA on the backs of the last days? Yeah, all right, let's have a look at BA. And thank you very much for the donation. So we'll load up ACB first. So this is obviously the marijuana stock, and they belted it. I think the problem with the marijuana stock is it probably was driven by stock tweets, Wall Street bets, that kind of thing. It's clean TA. You are correct. So is this clean TA? Yes. You've got a great resistance. You've breached it, and you think, yes, this thing's going long. And the TA is very good. Even the opportunity of either saying an inverse head and shoulders or a Wyckoff accumulation bottom with a belt out down here, both are very, very valid. The problem is the stock. So we know, actually, how much is this stock worth? 1.39 billion. We know that this stock is prone to hype pumps, and we have to look at the left-hand side. So you always have to look at the left-hand side. What has happened? We've had hype pumps. We've had big dumps. Have we had a technical setup in a long time? I mean, maybe over here you could say a little double bottom was technical. It's not exactly the most technical stock in the world. I think this is where you get to go to the left-hand side and say, do I really want to take the risk on something like this? This thing trades like a penny stock. And I think that's part of the reason why you've got to pay attention to it. Let's have a look at BA. Doing nothing, but still holding what we like. Now, you could look at this and say, oh, well, this sucks. It should be up higher. I want it over here or over 260 right now. Yes, I do too. But when we look at the 2 hour, what you'll notice is that at least it's hovering around this 20 moving average. So I've looked at this one in a bit of detail. I would love to see a breakout high. Once we get a breakout high, I believe we're beginning participation, and we should see quite a large move on Boeing fairly quickly. But at this stage, we're hovering in the zone. So we really need to breach this high, put absolutely no doubt on where we are in terms of where we're going, what's happening, everything like that. Get that 233 closed up above. Fantastic. That's what we need to see. And once that happens, if you look at it on a weekly, what's that going to be doing? Well, it's going to be pushing that weekly through, getting above that 232, which you can see is a problem here. And then we can move towards that 257. I really don't see many problems after this 232 area. I really hope it gets through. And we've got the first stage of recovery. Now we need the second, Thomas. Thank you very much for the super chat. Mark Wilkins, are we pushing above longer term NDX trend line strong with a dose of risk? Yeah, we're pushing above the trend line. It's sad times. The beautiful trend line. Ryan says, not if you're deep in QQQ. Well, that's true. I mean, we hopefully are all deep in the Nasdaq and tech and quality stocks, but he's saying about breaking the trend line, but it still is a sad day, Ryan, because while you're looking at short-term gains, which is great, what you're doing is you're less predictable. It's less predictable to where you could find your, great entry points in the future, where you can find potential descale points in the future. Once you start breaking past your, longer term kind of channels and longer term projections, it just makes it harder. That's all. I mean, you can see here, like I can just redraw my line, but you can't. You have to go back down here. And that's what a lot of people will do. They'll always say, oh, well, it's still holding. No, the line's there. Did IWM retest new support prior to resistance? Yeah, so let's have a look at IWM. This one's right on the level now. So we're back in our box. Here's the resistance. Here's the support. It's tested it properly today. So this is the resistance. This is the support. With IWM, if you want to trade this, usually what you're doing is you're either saying, okay, I like this roll reversal zone. Or if you think, oh, I don't want to catch the falling knife a little bit here, you're looking for those turnaround stories. Lightning bolt, double bottom, smaller time frames. Get into the 1 hour. Get into the, even the 15 minutes, the 2 hour, the 4 hour. Look for the turnaround story. But IWM still presents one of those bigger opportunities. Remember, it is a channel breakout. There's no denying that it's a channel breakout. You could ask any technical analyst out there. They're all going to say, oh, well, it technically is. Yes, yes, yes. They might say, well, I'm scared of the market or anything like that. Or the MACD is too low. We don't need this on there. But that's irrelevant. Really what you're doing is you're saying, okay, well, it has broken out. It's in a seasonal. This is my aim to what I'm going for here. Muhammad Al-Masari says, Tom, what do you think about TSM? It's finally going to break out of the channel. Let's have a look at TSM. This thing's been stuck for a long time. Here's the channel that we're talking about. Weekly. Big rejection here. So you can tell the weekly close above this area would be a massive deal, similar to where it was here. See how the trade becomes very good. Closure out above the resistance. Bam, straight into the next level. Fantastic. Let's have a look here at the daily. Yeah, so it's had a good 3.61% on it. Certainly worthwhile watching here. I mean, this is such an important zone, this 125. It's been behind. I mean, you look at some of the ones that we followed for a while, QCOM. Look where QCOM is now. QCOM trading at 186. 186 was 123. So this became a dog that became very glorious all of a sudden. 186. And TSM has been one of the only semiconductors, along with that other one that's terrible as well, MU or something, I think. We're looking for that breakout of this level. Is that a channel? Yep. A equals B. Where does B pass into? 140. So certainly one to watch if you missed out on the others. Mark Will says, exactly what I was thinking. QQQ melt up above the trend line. That means eventual retest too. Yes, we can use it for that. Absolutely. Finken79 says, not even Kathy is buying the Zillow dip. Yeah, that's true. Blue Maserati, $5. What up, Big T? How much about MTCH going to 0 in a couple of weeks? Okay, MTCH. What is that? Match group. Going to 0. I don't think it's going to 0. It's the dating thing, isn't it? Looks interesting from the perspective of nothing's happened for a while. Could it be, top end kind of Wyckoff false break as well? Wyckoff distribution here. Got that false break. Didn't really hold above on the weekly. Really big support. 4 touches so far. Let's see if it comes down. Breaks underneath here. Well, not to 0, but certainly this distance. A equals B probably pushes it to the 200. So watch around this. I mean, I think it's coming here. Very likely it comes here from an educational technical standpoint. 132. Current price 142. Looks like it's going to weaken into that zone. Check out daily. Yeah, just looks like it's going to weaken into the zone. Close below, be a big thing. Bullish pennant on the SPX hourly. Let's have a look at the SPX hourly. Thank you very much for the donation, Blue Maserati. SPX hourly. Probably not a pennant. So pennant idea would be like what you're looking for is more of a triangle kind of thing. Like that. Symmetrical is obviously a pennant with a big pull. It does have a resistance that it's struggling to get through. So here's the resistance. And then we've got the, maybe a little ascending kind of thing going on there. Would I like that much? Not really. It is trying, and it needs to break pretty fast. Because remember, whenever you draw these types of things, you want them to close out before the last third. Not what I would call stellar technical analysis. DE move up with Union strike over. That's been one that we have followed here for a few days. Yes, but still So pitiful. We're still struggling around this 365. And our problem is now 6 days time, we've got to contend with the earnings. So we've got resistance once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. We need it through to begin that boost. If you like to live dangerously and it closes above here before the earnings, let's say quite a few days before the earnings, maybe even tomorrow's session, then yeah, I mean, I hope it reprices all the way back up to there. Nothing's changed. We still think it's a good TA. Absolutely. Stop hunt on silver today. Yep, we have a look at that. So we've got about 7 minutes till the close here. So some of the big stories are, of course, the Amazon breakout still continues to pump here. It's at 3,700, up 4.29%. A lot of people very happy with NVIDIA as well. Well done to you. That's a great company. Apple, new all-time highs, supposedly car rumor deal stuff. So that's going towards that 165. We've got that breach down here, which is fantastic. And that's tended to lend itself to these types of moves. And then we've got silver just floating around exactly around this support. Previous resistance becomes support. Got gold floating around as well. DXY declining slightly after a large move. We expect this. Let's have a look at the 4 hour. Okay, so 4 hours through that 20. Let's have a look at the 8 hour. 8 hour 50 might be where it has to come to. So there could be still some further declines here in the DXY. So that's certainly a story. We'll look at crypto soon because crypto is definitely getting pummeled around. Is there anything else? I guess the only other story that's interesting is the VIX continues to be slightly bullish here. So the VIX, or the volatility or the fear of the market, actually is going up. Yet the market is going up at the same time. That's kind of rare. Let's call that partially rare. Doesn't always happen. So obviously there are some scaredy cats in the markets right now. Andre says, AMD overtook Google as my best performing stock position, now almost same market cap as Intel. Time to consider selling. Oh, yeah. AMD has a history of having big pumps on it and then dumping. It's doing very well right now. I feel like their brand has certainly improved, but yeah. I think the thing with AMD is it's kind of got that mixture of obviously the graphics card and the CPU, which has helped it out again. Luke says, thoughts on DKNG down again today? Yeah, DKNG is going towards that level. Unfortunately, I believe it's going towards this whatever this is we said the other day, 35. This is the participation, hence why it's coming down into this area. Have I talked about DKNG yet? No. A few of you wanted to talk about it. I mean, look, they burn cash. They're obviously going to be unprofitable for a few years. Backwards SPAC thing, that doesn't help in the markets. But I think overall, we've just got this really good level of support that's coming up. And you have to wait for turnarounds here. Trying to pick the falling knife, like we almost got a turnaround at this point, but we didn't. And that's the point. You didn't get the confirmation. So you didn't get the confirmation. You didn't get any confirmation. We need confirmation. This is where we think the participation is going at this stage. Now, there was a super chat. I'll grab that. Here it is. Breno B, $7.99 Australian. Thank you very much. Hi, Tom. Thanks for the great content. No worries, bro. Thank you very much. The 630 people out there as well. By the way, I appreciate that. Can you have a look at TPW on the ASX? Thanks again. Certainly can. We'll just quickly focus on the close here because we've got 3 minutes to go. So the story, again, has been mostly the Russell, the smaller companies have done pretty poorly through the session. You'll notice some of our favorites have done okay, which are things like Amazon right now. Apple has done well. The FANG stocks. Tesla holding around that 1100 for anyone that's interested in Tesla right now. It's right at the resistance that we mentioned. Unfortunately, that means no breakout just yet for it. But good news, if you're a Tesla fan, bit of consolidation here at the peak. So if we do breach to the upside, if we breach, it's coiling. It's resetting those indicators a little bit. So we could have a nice explosive movement up until this area. The QQQ has been the strongest position. US 100, new all-time high here. Close is fairly strong. All other markets and other sectors are not doing so well. If we wanted to detail that, we would basically just bring up this. Let me just quickly show you guys. So you can see here, semiconductors, 2.46%, XLY, 1.17, and XLK, 0.98. That's the only three sectors that are any good today. So it's a three-sector game, kind of rare in the markets. Not really that healthy if it continues to do it this way. If we look at let's say 3-month sector, what you'll notice is that TAN, semiconductors, and consumer discretionary have all met each other. Energy also just flatlining there for the last little bit. So yeah, look at this resurgence here of TAN and the movement overall of semiconductors recently. Fantastic trades, aren't they? This is the power of recognizing the sectors you want to be in. Gold, probably my pick. I put it in here. I think gold sector could be very, very good. So here we go, 1 minute till the close. Earnings today, not much going on. Applied Materials, Intuit, these things. Most people aren't in these. So I know because I don't really see you guys talk about them. I do want to quickly take a look at Barber because Barber's result obviously was poor. I guess JD is a beneficiary of this. And it just shows again why we have to wait for confirmation to pick up stocks. You might think Barber's cheap on paper, and it may be. But look, the market just hates on this stock right now. It's been in a decline for a long period, and trying to pick the end of a decline, you've got to be very, very careful. And here's the decline. So remember, this can happen to any stock out there at any point that's in huge growth. A good example of this would probably be having a look at Roku right now. Horror. It's honestly a horror show. Is anyone in Roku? Barber therapy, please. It's on support. There's your therapy. Sorry, Trader Dave. The only therapy I can give you is it's back down on support. FANG is a safe haven for the markets. Exactly what I was going to say in the video today there, Doggery. Don't steal my topic, all right? Don't steal the topic. FANG is a safe haven for the markets and COVID risk off trade due to rising case numbers. Well, I'm not going to say maybe that bit, but yes, it is usually a bit of a safe haven trade. And we've seen it happen before crashes. Look at this Roku. What a nasty stock. And you know the horror about this? I don't actually know where it stops. Is it 172? Is it 200? This thing was trading at 490. So never forget what can happen to these growth stocks. Down 51.87%. Ouch. Market's now closed. 0.4% up, US 500. US 100 has rallied into the close. Take a look at this. We'll give you the 5-minute here. You can see. So it rallied into the close here. So it's not like the market is weak on these stocks. Again, Amazon, very big performer here. Nvidia, big performer. Any other standouts? Nvidia, 8.25%. JD doing well. Etsy, our Amazon clone that we believed in. You'll notice we covered that a lot. Covered in the private community as well. Had a great technical on it. Very similar to, actually, it's a very similar setup to the Tesla setup. We had that trend line. And then we breached to new resistance through here. We didn't really care about that high. Kind of came up, went meh, and then just bang. So Etsy, ticks of approval. Well done, guys, if you got into that. And you know the thing that's kind of annoying is that you had to get the earnings as well. I like it when it's just all technical analysis. ZNGA is dying and that hurts. ZNGA. We'll do the crypto in a second. Zynga. Oh, yeah. Zynga has always been a very poor stock. I remember when it listed. I was around when it listed. Listed, went up with a boom. Kind of reminds me of Twitter. And then just all the way back down. Sat there for a long time and then recovered. COVID kind of did well for it, but it's probably overpriced. John Moore says, Tom, do you use stop entries, limit orders? What? It depends what type of position you're looking in to getting into. There's different types of orders that you'll use. You'll end up using all orders. I mean, if you're using, let's say you'll use like a buy stop if you're wanting to see a breakout. Maybe if you want to scale into that breakout, you might use a limit order if you wanted to pull back to a zone, you want to invest into that price. So you will end up using all of them. So the market, fairly lackluster actually today. It is up 1%. I know you guys will think, oh, that's exciting. Amazon stand out to me. And that's just a big trade there. And I hope this pays off for people that have had the faith in the Amazon recently. Hopefully you can see how the technical analysis played out. And while you might say, oh, I could have done pretty well in other stocks. I mean, you're now looking at 6.75% up. That's no slouch on a quality stock. No slouch on a quality stock. Most of it happened today, but you're getting at least partially rewarded, yeah? All right, let's have a look at crypto. So we got the old BTCs. Let's take a look here. It was a big deal. BTC never ran through. We gave it a 61.5 to try to give us the green action. Didn't give us the green action. I must admit, I would have thought this would have sold off a bit more aggressively. So we've gotten underneath the previous zone. We're underneath this area here. Let's zoom in on this Bitcoin. By the way, welcome 664 people. Thank you so much for joining us. If you do enjoy the streams, please give us a like, sub if you can. It does help us out. So here are the rejections. We can see the strength that's come off. Then we get that flat close. Now, the flat close, I always expect to be belted the next candle, but I thought it might get belted and continue on a little bit more. Like, why is it stopped just here? So now we say, okay, this was support. Now it becomes resistance. So what we really want is probably Bitcoin to get belted again from this area. Now, a lot of you probably say, no, don't let it get hit. But I'm kind of surprised if it bounces here. My expectation is lower. My expectation is like a 54K here out of Bitcoin. Currently, this 4 hours is looking very strong, but that could be a trap. Remember, that's looking like a bullish hammer, but that doesn't mean much. We've seen daily bullish hammers get broken. That was the 8 hour, by the way. Sorry, not 4 hour. And yeah, this is the area. So around this 58.6 area, we need to find resisted selling. If we're on a 15-minute chart, what we're looking for is a break below here. What is this? 57,520. That will then confirm a bit of a turnaround, a bit of a rollover on the smaller time frames, which should lead to hopefully new lows. You can see the volume that's come in after it got through. So there was large volume. Yeah. What do you guys think about Bitcoin? What do you think about Bitcoin? Is this thing going lower or is this the end and it's going to go higher? Thank you very much, Thomas and everybody else. Music, appreciate it. So what happened to AMAT post-market? We'll have a look at that in a second. So it's underneath ETH. Interesting. Okay, so ETH just broke underneath 4K. It's also looking for that closure under the 50 moving average. So hopefully that happens. ADA actually didn't do much. ADA is clearly, that's a bit more bullish actually on this one because it's exactly where it was. So ADA is not as weak as maybe the other coins. KSM, one of my favorites, getting weak again. Come on, 300. I want 300 KSM coming down here. This is where we want you. This is the smiley face level. Everything else is not so smiley face. So all the coins, they certainly are weakened. Let's have a look at Polkadot for a second here. You can't really, just notice how it's kind of pointless to TA a lot of these other coins when it's all about Bitcoin and what Bitcoin's doing. Remember, Bitcoin leads them all. So BTC initially leads. Once BTC has crashed or fell into the zone of support, you have the opportunity to potentially look into the alt, see where they're at, everything like that. But what you'll notice is even when BTC goes up, it can be a little while before every one of the alts starts. So just learn the game of crypto. Learn the game. It goes BTC, Ethereum, the big alts, and then the crap. So the crap is the last part. That's the one that you really need to be hoping that BTC holds up for. And the crap is all based on news and random pumps and scary stuff. But yeah, Bitcoin at this stage. Let's see what the chat thinks. Someone says, I got wrecked today. Bought at the resistance. Okay. I was nervous. You thought you were going to miss out, I assume. That you didn't wait? Have you been watching, Abraham? You didn't wait? Give it about 61.5? Damn, dude. That sucks. 53K here. We come. PK Subban says lower. People selling to buy silver, says Nick. Really? Not sure about that. Let's have a look at this AMAT thing. Just to appease this person. Applied Materials. It's down 7.52. It looks, is it a div day? Is it div or something else? I'm not sure. I don't know what happened to AMAT, man. What I do know is it hit 80% of the target. It's a good technical too. A beautiful technical. Now down 147. It's probably not the div. I don't know what's happened. Someone else, you'll have to go find the news. Obviously some news. 52.54. Higher after holiday sale. Sideways through Black Friday. Fang loves the lockdown fears. Yes. Tabula Kevin says Bitcoin going much higher over the weekends. Well, certainly quite possible. Tom, does NVIDIA look bullish for tomorrow? Not really. It's sitting around the resistance of the previous peak. So it doesn't really look that much bullish, but it doesn't look horrid either. Scott Andrew, $5. Hi, Tom. My friend has his life savings wrapped up in OTC mining gamble TLOF. That is dependent upon a 2022 contract. TA thoughts. My God. So you mean we need to look at the educational concepts of this TLOF OTC thing? Educational concepts only. Okay. I mean, is there any education we can do here? I'm not really too sure. Very little. How did that happen? $398 million stock. I mean, all I would go with is that this monthly seems to struggle around 62 cents. I mean, you close above, fantastic. Fantastic. You got rejection here. You got rejection again, rejection again, rejection again. You close above, very strong for this particular stock from an educational perspective. Nice base, I guess. Oh, it's very tough here. This doesn't have much information. Yeah, I think they're probably the key levels. I mean, you got your support at 34. You've got decent resistance that's broken at 50. And then you've got this random 61, 62 cents. And if it breaks through there, it could be quite good, Scott. Darren Jones, $5. Tom, I was thinking BTC wouldn't go below 58K till I saw your feedback yesterday. Now I'm thinking we're going to 54K. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, but with 58K, what was the thought process there? Just because of the support here? I think the problem I have with it is it stops kind of early. So here is, what some people were traditionally looking at as the support. But this stopped early and it went wick, 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 buy, close below. I mean, if we get that weakness coming through on the 15-minute again right now, you just have to think that it's going to continue to weaken and continue to look for that 54, 53K. I also like it from what I've detailed a few times, which has been the moves. If we believe we're in an ABC style pattern, here's the A, here's the B, here's what will be the C, then realistically, the pullbacks usually in these types of patterns are very similar as well. So here's the first pullback. We need that pullback to be very similar. And that pullback being very similar gets us to around this 54, 55K. BTC is the bread, and the alts are the breadcrumbs. Yes. Crypto miner Mara has a nice wick at the 50. Here, your opinion, Tom. Well, Mara, I mean, I think with all these ones, you're just really trading off Bitcoin sentiment. Wow, this thing went up a lot more than I expected. So it traded off Bitcoin sentiment, went ballistic. 83. Damn. Yeah, I don't really have too much of an opinion on it. It's at the previous resistance becoming support. That's about it. But ultimately, it's at the death roll of Bitcoin, really. Silver, most undervalued asset on the planet. Yeah, but also one of the most manipulated assets on the planet. Hasn't gone up for a long time. No worries, Scott. All good. Too many people with YOLO attitude. Yeah, YOLO attitude will get you dangerous. I think YOLO attitude comes when you have a couple of $1,000 though. YOLO attitude maybe up to 10, 20K, but once you get past 10, 20K, maybe a little bit less YOLO attitude. Rob Skinner says that is the most degenerate thing to put life savings on, not going to lie. Yeah, it's certainly getting up there. It's certainly up there. FOMO over the YOLO. Yeah. Oh, it's all terrible. We looked at Roku. It was horrid. Sorry, GBB. It still looks like it's going to keep going down. It might have rallies, but don't be fooled by in the middle of there's nowhere land. So I guess we'll probably finish a little bit earlier here today because I want to get the video out and I've got a few meetings that I need to do. So what I wanted to say was, look, watch the Bitcoin very closely here. I mean, look, I've said 54. I would like 54. I think you got to really watch it now in the small time frame. See if we get that little bit of a closure below. If we get follow through underneath here, then we could certainly start to see weakness into the 54, 55K. I'm still Bitcoin bullish. Overall, I haven't really descaled very much or anything like that. So I'm just looking at it from an aspect of the ABC. If we can get something like that, it makes me happy, and that's good. The markets have come down slightly after the close here in terms of the futures action. I'll be making a video about it shortly, talking about the FANG. Some people are saying, what about divergence between this and that and all these other things? Look, this is clearly a movement into the FANG, the movement into the big tech stocks that the market feels safe about. You know, Apple, Amazon, Google, they're the ones going. Microsoft's up as well. And it's not an across the board green action here in the markets. I mean, you can see it. Few people asking about Nvidia. Yeah, the reason I say it's not really a like super breakout or anything is it gapped up, went red for the day, and it's not really held anything. So a lot of people actually might even look to short trade it for their gap close. So that could be something that does happen. Don't be won over so much about that being a breakout. We've spoken about it. I know it looks like everything's fantastic. Great stock. Love the stock. Got a 3080 in my computer right now. Beautiful. Great stuff. Took me long enough to get it. Jeez. Had to use one of those little Discord robots that's like, stock now available. Okay, cool. I can buy. But not at those rip-off prices. No, we don't pay those nasty scalpers. Too much scalping. All right, we'll see you in the next one. And then we'll go from it. Caesar says, is the Nasdaq going to keep going up? This is ridiculous. Well, it's pretty much at that real peak. And if it does get another big day, you can't say that we have a trend line anymore. We're at that peak area. Get another green day, and what you're looking at then is really just retests. You think it's ridiculous? They're the best stocks in the market. They're not even that crazy. You know, have a look at where's my macro trends. I have it up here. So let's load up AAPL for a second here. The PE ratio is actually under where it was. So it's trading about 27.36, probably about 28 something today. Was trading at 35. You know, so how ridiculous really is the ratio here? Earnings per share is up. Is Apple that ridiculous? It's not that crazy. All right. Ciao, everyone. Bye for now.